Welcome, everybody, to the 5th episode of the Future Check podcast. Today with me, I have movie guy Miles Foster, who is a board member at the Madison Film Festival. He is a writer at Awards Radar, and he is a projectionist at the Marquee Cinema. So, Miles Foster, thank you for coming on the show this morning. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah, no, this is a long time coming, especially as somebody who is one of the original members of the Badger Film Group.
Yep.
Wild, man. I want to, first things first, let's talk about, like, what's your first memory with the Badger Film Group? Because we go way back, and so, being from the start, you being here, tell me, like,
Right.
What do you first remember about this group?
So the first thing I remember is I just remember I was checking my Instagram DMs, and then I was just kind of scrolling through, like, the requested ones from people that, like, weren't following me or whatever, and there was one from you, and it was like, hey, I don't know if you remember me, I'm Jared from class, I forget which one, I think it was ComArts 350, and you were just like, I'm thinking of, like, putting a group of, like, people together to, like, make a movie or something, and you seem like you know a lot about movies, so why don't you come on board? And then I did, and then, yeah, I just remember it was kind of a crazy, like, when we were making Licorice, the first project, I remember the writing process was so crazy, because there were, like, 10 of us in the room, and we were all just, like, throwing ideas and stuff like that. It was just very chaotic, but, like, a good chaos. Like, it was a good group of people to, like, to kind of jump in with, to start off with. And yeah, I just liked that experience overall. It was very fun.
So fun. It was so fun. It's because, I was thinking about you from the start, even before this group happened, because like you said, like, I told you in the DM, you know so much about movies.
Yeah.
We totally could use that knowledge because we draw inspiration from different things.
Yeah.
And, with that cinema passion, I knew we needed it.
Mm-hmm.
I knew it from the start.
Yeah.
Like, in class, I remember you would answer every question.
Yeah.
And I would be there, like, half asleep. But I would notice that. Like,
Yeah.
Miles would just be rapid fire everything. And he knew every darn movie. And he still, I mean, to this day, you see a movie pretty much every day.
Yeah, I'm at 80 in theaters so far this year, so getting that movie count up pretty high.
Wow. And how many did you see in theaters last year?
155. I broke my record.
Wow.
Yeah, before then, I saw 146 movies in theaters in 2019.
Yeah.
And then last year, I just blew that out of the water. And this year, I genuinely think I might be on track to hit 200 by the end of the year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And another thing that's unique about Miles and what he's been doing is that he's not an AMC guy. He's a Marcus Cinema Theater guy.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about your Marcus experiences and why you prefer Marcus over AMC?
I don't know. I will be fair. I do love a good AMC theater. They're great. They're fantastic. Those Nicole Kidman ads, love them.
Oh, so good.
However, there's just something about a Marcus theater that feels like home. I don't know what it is about it. The popcorn's just kind of better. Just the vibes, the ambiance, everything just blows AMC, Cinemark, Regal, all of those out of the water. And all those little videos from Greg Marcus, those can't be beat. Greg Marcus is the guy. I mean, come on.
I love it. Yeah, no, you have to meet him at some point. There has to be a movie guy Miles collaboration with Greg Marcus.
Greg Marcus.
That has to happen.
I agree.
So maybe if he finds out about the Wasted premiere, we can get him there.
Maybe.
Or even have a screening at a Marcus theater nearby.
Maybe if he's listening right now, Greg, let's make it happen, please.
Let's do something. Let's do something.
Yeah.
But another thing too, Miles. So you're a sophomore right now. Yep. What do you feel? Being one of the younger members of the Badger Film Group, what do you feel is something that you've learned that's been super valuable in your time being part of the Badger Film Group? Yes, you are one of the original members, but seeing all these seniors and juniors come through the group, what have you learned from the upperclassmen throughout your process and your time in the group?
Wow, dang, that's kind of a thinker.
Right.
What I really like, especially about seeing the actors that are seniors, is I really like how committed they are and how dedicated they are, and I'm sure they've learned all that over time, just that patience, that dedication. And it's really inspiring to see on set because we're shooting for a long time. Some of these scenes, like that theater, like in the theater, that finale scene, like that must not have been very easy to film. Like or to to be up there on the stage, just I don't know, just the patience and dedication that they've all shown is just really really admirable, and they also really know how to collaborate with others. They know how to take ideas from people and express their own views too, and just kind of find a middle ground between those two, and that's very good to see.
Yeah, no, it's been so cool. Especially, I think what's been so important throughout this process is that it's the chemistry, and they're all friends. It's not,
Yeah,
it doesn't stop when they leave the set,
right.
and that goes with us too, and
Hmm.
just the whole group in general. It's that there's this friendship, there's this family bond that we have that transcends film,
Yeah,
and I think that's what's carried us, and I think that's actually been a difference maker in, compared to past productions,
yeah.
because we had our productions and then we wouldn't see each other, we would just see each other on set.
Hmm.
But now I feel when we go around campus and we see someone else in the group, there's this little,
Right.
like, oh hey, what's going on, a little
Yeah,
dap up,
yeah.
or in the library, you know what I
We're
mean?
building a community kind of through this, and that's kind of it's really fun to see.
It's so
I
cool.
I do remember being so, I don't even know how to describe it, but I remember in the beginning when we were filming like Licorice and Heart of Gold, mostly Licorice because we would be walking down University to get to University Liquor to film, and you could not go like 3 blocks down University without bumping into at least like 4 people that you knew, and I was like, how does this guy do? How do you know so many people? And now just kind of like being involved with Badger Film Group, being involved with Wood Film and Understudies Improv, that kind of happens to me now, and it's weird. I haven't gotten used to like people recognizing me yet. Not that I'm like in any way famous or
Campus celebrity right here.
no, 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 or
Movie guy Miles on the prom.
I'm not like some huge like popular guy. I never have been. So I don't know. There's just something about like being recognized, which is it's just it's kind of great because like they're recognizing you, but in a way they're also kind of recognizing the work that you've done too. So like being recognized on the street by people who have seen my improv shows with my improv group, like they're like, oh hey Miles, like I don't know,
Yeah.
I don't know how to describe it, but there's just I don't know, it's really cool when people kind of have that moment and recognize me for my work. Even people from Badger Film Group, like, will like I'll run into them and then they'll talk about like what it was like on set the other night. Like
Hmm.
it's just a really cool community.
It's awesome. I think it's just the sense of appreciation that we have for each other, and
Yeah.
that people are taking the time to get to know one another beyond, whatever club you might be involved in, an organization. So you might be like, for you, Badger Film Group, but you also, like you said, you have those other outlets, and people recognize you for more than just one thing.
Yeah.
And I think that's so special. And
Mhm.
and you talk about, yeah, being like a campus celebrity, walking down the streets, everyone seeing you or whatever. That stuff, you know, it can really make someone's day when you say
Mhm.
hi out
Yeah.
of nowhere, and you might be going through something, but you see someone that you've had some really fun and great experiences with. It
Yeah.
livens everything.
Yeah, and I make sure to reciprocate that too. Like if I see someone I know on the street, someone I recognize, someone,
Right.
I'll say hi.
You say hi.
I'll chat them up. I'll talk about like, like, oh, how's this theater thing going? Like,
Yeah.
because I want to know how they're doing, and just,
Yeah. The stop and chats are great. I mean, besides when you're in the gym or whatever, that can get a little too
Yeah.
much, because then the workouts never end.
Yeah.
I know people that actually stay in the gym for like 6 hours just because they're talking.
Wow.
I mean, I'm not gonna say I'm excused from that. I do stay a little longer than I probably should just
Yeah.
because of the stop and chats. But
Mhm.
yeah, when I can avoid them, I do. I do.
Yeah.
But another thing you mentioned too is, going down university, seeing people, specifically on university liquor, where
Mhm.
licorice that happened.
Yeah.
That was our first film. I want to know from your perspective, being a part of this Badger Film Group for the last almost 2 years, what film prior to Wasted has been your favorite? Because you sparked the licorice movie in me when you said University Liquor, and now I'm thinking,
Mm-hmm.
what has been your favorite so far?
Oof. It's a difficult choice.
Yeah.
I mean, real quick honorable mention. I liked Watch Out. Watch Out was really fun, but I wasn't able to be as involved, on set because I was really busy. So like it's not like imprinted into my brain like some of the earlier ones are. And Heart of Gold was really fun to shoot too. And also that was kind of like our first like Licorice was like our little comedy thing, but like Heart of Gold, while there were still definitely comedic moments, Heart of Gold was kind of like our first step into like making something that felt like a real thing. Not that Licorice didn't, but like, you know,
Right.
it kind of
The
existed in its
production,
own.
yeah,
Yeah.
like yeah, Heart of Gold. Yeah, Heart of Gold was more. It was taken more seriously.
Yeah.
For sure.
But with all that being said, there's something about Licorice. I think it was just so fun to film because it was just a really funny group of people, and it was our first time like getting together to make something. And yeah, it was just really cool. And maybe there is like a little bit of the aspect where it's like, what? I'm just this freshman and I'm filming a movie in a liquor store. What? That's cool. Kind of had that little moment for a little bit, but then by like day 2 of shooting, I was like, oh, we're just here. We're on set. This is set. This is what we do.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's. I mean, in the story too behind that. I mean, these kids trying to get alcohol for their freshman dorm party. That in itself, being a freshman.
Yeah.
I know people on set were trying to imitate that in real life.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know about that until after the movie.
I also didn't know about that until after.
But
like we had already left the place, and
yeah,
some people were like,
we might have been doing the things that the characters in the main movie were doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, thank God I didn't know about that beforehand.
Yeah. So I didn't know that. I think you might have been the one that made me aware of it, but I'm not really sure. I don't know. I don't know.
Am I the rat?
The world may never know.
Yeah, maybe not.
But that was a wild time, especially first production. No one knew what they were. No one knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
We just started like moving around the place. Didn't really know what blocking was. Didn't know what lenses to use, cameras, booms. It was so random.
Yeah, it was the Baby Badger Film Group.
Yeah.
That was before we could walk.
That's where we could walk. Barely could talk.
Yeah.
David Capriva was giving out shots on the set because he was the Bud Light ambassador.
Yep.
So that in itself was just a fever dream.
Yeah.
Oh my god! And then you go to Slice. I forgot. Were you how many days? It was a 3-day shoot. Did you come to set?
I don't think I was able to, but I remember seeing like
intense.
I do remember seeing some of the footage and also like your Instagram stories and stuff like that.
Yeah, it was fun. But yeah, I think me personally, my favorite, before. I mean, Watch Out was really awesome because that was a feature.
Yeah.
So that was, doing the airplane scene was really cool, or like the cemetery or the church. That was cool because of how intense the production was and how real it felt.
Right.
But I think in those first 3, the Badger Film Group trilogy to begin, my favorite would have had to have been. Okay, I liked Heart of Gold better than Licorice, but I liked the Licorice premiere better.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Because the Licorice premiere, everyone was just caught off guard. They didn't know what they were getting themselves into.
Yeah.
So when friends came to my apartment and family came and whoever came, it was just this like random burst of excitement. No one knew what they were getting excited about, and they were just like having a good time, and things were just happening. Whereas Heart of Gold, it was great too. Yeah. But at the premiere, it was just like it was taken really seriously. Yeah. So over time, I think we've found like the right balance for premieres and stuff.
Yeah.
And how to go about like that energy. But yeah, Licorice, it was unhinged. I don't know what other
I wore a
word to
suit
say.
To that premiere. I remember that.
Yeah. And I remember we had like a red carpet. That wasn't even a red carpet. It was just like
it was
paper, red paper.
Like construction paper.
It was nuts.
With a broken TV.
Broken TV, traffic cones all around the apartment. The 505 flag just in shambles.
Like if that doesn't scream like premiere venue, I don't know what.
I don't know what does. I wanted to include that flag in this movie for Wasted, but I couldn't find it in my house. So yeah, because I was gonna bring it back up to put in the movie in the Alpha fraternity,
like an Easter egg. Yeah.
Yes, so people be like, "Oh, I remember those 505 parties that Jared used to throw." No way.
Yeah.
Those were crazy. I don't know if you ever attended any of those parties.
Don't think I did.
No. So what would happen is me and my roommates, we would throw these ridiculous parties where we would have bouncers and DJs and bartenders come to my apartment, and then we would charge people to get into our parties. We had people lined up out the door going from North Carroll Street all the way to Langdon.
Wow.
we had huge lines
Yeah,
of people.
I remember hearing about some of those, but yeah, I never went to one.
It was insane, and I actually didn't realize this, but Blake, he had been at one of my parties, and I
Mm,
didn't even know it. So
yeah,
he had known me before we met in person because
yeah.
he had been to one of those 505 parties. I
Wow.
was like, wait, because he kind of knew who I was. I knew who he was through Instagram, through his drone videos.
Yeah.
But when we came in person, he came to my apartment for that first time for that first meeting.
Hmm.
He said to me, "Oh, I've been here before. I was here for a party." I was like, "What? You
Yeah.
you were at my apartment?" And
Yeah.
those, yeah, I mean, fire alarms were getting pulled,
Jeez.
windows were getting broken, things were getting stolen. It was smoke alarms were going off. Yeah, that
I'm
was
sure the other
nuts.
I'm sure the other apartments appreciated that.
Yeah, right.
Maybe they were probably all there.
Oh my gosh, they probably were. We had random people just coming throughout the night.
Yeah.
You wouldn't even know. I mean,
Mm.
there's some crazy stories of what happened in the bathrooms there, and you don't even want to know the half of it.
Nope.
But that was like the textbook moment of college for me. I think
Mm.
was those parties
Yeah.
because you had people from all over campus just coming together to just get wasted.
Yeah.
And
Like the movie.
like the
Like the
movie.
movie we're doing.
That I think too. What got me into filmmaking as well was just those parties like that.
Hmm.
It was just the bringing people together and the promotion and
Yeah.
seeing everyone have such a good time. I think that's why I just love making movies
Yeah.
because we have these special times where we just come together and do
Right.
something that's awesome.
Yeah.
Like for you, what would you say? Like, what's your favorite part about filmmaking?
There's just something. There's something about the process of just creating something and just kind of slowly watching it come to life. Like it's such a rewarding feeling too, especially when it's like when you see someone take your suggestion or like your idea or it's your script or you're the director. Like there's always something to contribute, and I just really like that building process that just kind of forms a movie
Right.
and stuff like that. And I can't I can't picture another career path for me. Like which maybe might be a little silly putting all my eggs in one basket, but like I don't know. I've been obsessed with film since literally as long as I can remember. Like film has been my literal like my life.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I have to pave my own way for a future in film because there's nothing else I can see myself doing or really really wanting to do. So
Yeah,
I don't know. Film industry, look out because
Miles Foster.
I'd really like to be there.
Yeah, movie guy Miles is coming through.
Yeah.
He's coming through, and I'm excited to see what you do too because Badger Film Group with a lot of these upperclassmen now graduating,
Yeah.
me going into my senior year, we need some new voices, we need some new directors, we need some roles have to be fulfilled,
Yeah.
and I'm just so excited to get you in the door there because
Yeah.
we've been working to this point to get
Mhm.
people like from the underclassmen
Yeah.
to that level, and I think through just shadowing upperclassmen and just through this constant collaboration, people are just going to be ready. Like people
Yeah.
like you are ready to go.
Right.
And I think question for you now is for a movie idea that you'd want to do, in the future.
Mm.
Is there something that you've been inspired by in the past, whether it be a movie or something like your background or growing up, or is there some inspiration you have for a movie idea that you'd like to do down the line?
Well, okay. Wow.
Yeah, this is a big question.
I do have a lot of ideas.
Yeah.
I do want to keep a lot of them under wraps though.
Okay.
But I remember last year in ComArts 466, our writing class, screenwriting class, I wrote a script called Magic Carpet Ride about this one girl who's stuck in like a small town working at her father's antique shop. She meets this random hunk who like blows through town. She meets him, and in order to spite her dad, her and the guy take off on her dad's most prized possession, which is like a literal magic carpet, and they just fly off and go on some adventure. It's not my best idea, but I just thought it was a really fun idea. I was listening to the song Magic Carpet Ride by Steppenwolf, and I was like, wait, this could be a movie and stuff like that. And that's one of my ideas that I really like. It'd be hard to film as like a Badger film group thing because it would need a lot of green screen for some of these flying sequences. But
We can make it happen.
yeah,
Yeah, you saw we were at that studio yesterday, so
yeah, that's true.
I'm telling you, never limit the imagination
Yeah.
because we can do it. We can pull off anything.
Yeah.
Anything.
Yeah.
We've done airplane. We've done, like we said, church,
We've done
cemetery. We've done
boat.
boat. We've done. I mean, for this film
Liquor
in
store.
itself, liquor store, studio,
Monona Terrace.
frat house, Monona Terrace, restaurants, bars. Nothing's off limits.
Right.
So if there's one thing that anyone can get out of Badger Film Group, I think it's that you should never limit your imagination.
Yeah.
Because when you're trying to chase a dream, everyone's gonna call you crazy. So until you can grasp the concept that your dreams are not too far out of reach, then nothing will happen until you can actually believe in it.
Yeah.
You got to believe that it's possible. Like you're gonna hear here right now. I want to film in a rocket ship, so that will happen, and I don't know when it'll happen, but it will
Somewhere down the
happen.
line.
Yes, that will happen. Whether it's in space or it's on the ground, we will be filming in a rocket ship at some point.
Yeah.
So it's things like that. And another thing for you, I'm thinking about right now is being in wood film.
Yeah.
How has that impacted your movie going experience or just the way you view film?
Well, just joining the Wood Film Committee. So basically what that is we're a committee of students that meet weekly to basically decide what films are getting programmed to be screened at the Marquee Theater at Union South every weekend. So being a committee member there has definitely helped increase my my movie viewing numbers because I go to a lot of the screenings. So like as soon as I joined Wood Film, like my movie count just popped off. But part of that is I'm also kind of getting exposed to films I wouldn't have otherwise known about. Like we're bringing in some international films and some like older indie films that I would have never seen if I didn't join. I mean maybe somewhere down the line because I'm crazy and I'll try to watch everything. But like I love the opportunity I love the door that it's open where I can just have access to movies that I wouldn't have otherwise had access to and to be able to program them for the community for free too. It's a really cool opportunity, but it's just kind of been it's kind of broadened my worldview and it's kind of shown me that movies are whatever you want to make, you can make.
Yeah. And that it's so inspirational. And I think you being part of that committee and seeing the way that the community responds, I think that just adds to your understanding for what audience members want to see. And I think this even goes to, I mean, let's consider the foundation of these movies when you're actually putting this production together, when you're setting up, the projector and all that stuff. Because I know you're a projectionist.
Yeah. What
does that process entail? What's it like? Do you see movies differently now that you know how being a projectionist works, or what's your take on that?
Well, so far as a projectionist still in training, I haven't gotten to do much of the cool stuff yet. So I haven't learned how to do 35 millimeter films yet and stuff like that. But it's kind of cool seeing you are kind of viewing films not necessarily through a more tech forward lens, but just kind of being aware of more of the technological aspects in film because those are the things we kind of have to adjust when we're projecting. So I'm paying more attention to aspect ratios because we need to know if the film is going to be presented flat in full screen or scope and widescreen, and then we have to put up the bottom masking and stuff like that. I'm more aware of audio levels because we're responsible for doing those. We have to do sound checks before all the screenings and stuff like that. And that's all stuff that of course I knew about as a frequent film watcher and wannabe filmmaker, but it's kind of shown me a little bit more depth to those aspects of films that I've never really paid too much attention to before, which is cool.
That's so cool. Yeah. That's so cool. And what's unique about your, I think, movie experience, just I guess from you learning about the industry and the production, is that you're getting all sides of it. It's you're consuming, you're making, you're writing, you're doing everything so that you can fully understand the art.
Yeah.
And I think the one thing we haven't really talked about too much yet on this podcast is the writing aspect.
Yeah.
So for you being at Awards Radar, tell us what's it like? I mean, obviously it's easy for you to just crank out these literally these articles because you're constantly writing. You want to talk about these movies. You have a stacked letterbox. I want to understand how does that work as far as what they want from you and then what you provide for them.
Yeah. So at Awards Radar, I'm a news writer. So basically, whenever like typically whenever industry like movie, TV, whenever news drops, we'll get note of it, and then it'll be like, are any of the news writers like available to take this? And typically, when I'm available, I'll hop right on it because I want to help out. I want to write as much as possible, and it's also just really fun to do. But you're also informing the public. I know as someone who loves entertainment, I love entertainment news. So helping make entertainment news is like, it's really cool. But yeah, that Awards Radar has also presented me with like a lot of like interesting opportunities that I'm really grateful for. Like, it's given me the chance to like interview, like I got to interview RZA from Wu-Tang to like promote a movie he was doing. I've interviewed Oscar-nominated composers, an Oscar-winning composer. Like, I've mostly really talked to music people in these interviews, but like, I'm so glad that I've had those opportunities because not only have I been able to talk to like real people in the industry, but I've gotten so much insight on what it is they do. Like RZA talking about writing and directing, and Daniel Pemberton, who did the music for Trial of Chicago 7, which I was interviewing him for. He also did Into the Spider-Verse. Him talking about his process for like creating a score and stuff like that. Same thing with Stephen Price, who I interviewed too. He won the Oscar for composing Gravity. Just kind of hearing some of his process too just kind of shows like how much goes into like all this stuff, and just getting those perspectives and also just getting the inside scoop on a lot of the entertainment news, I feel like has kind of made me more well-rounded in that world as well.
Oh yeah. That's incredible. I think something that immediately is coming to my head right now is you've focused, I guess, through these articles a lot on music.
Yeah.
Have you ever considered making your own music?
I have. Not too seriously, but when it comes to me making music, I would really I want to learn how to play a lot of instruments because I really like the sound of live music, and I don't know how to use a lot of music making software. Not that it would be easier to learn how to play entire instruments, but it would. I like the tangible feeling of playing something. Maybe. I've also considered the route. I was like, I don't want to close off any avenue into film. So like, if I somehow become a film composer, that'll also be cool because I pay so much attention to like film scores and soundtracks and stuff. And then I don't know. I've also been joking around with friends like, yeah, I'm gonna create a hyper pop album as a joke. Maybe I will. Maybe that'll be something in the future.
Dude, you got Jay in the back. You got Al in the back. They easily can help you with it. Both do music. I mean, I've been getting into it over the last few months. Yeah. So hey, if you're interested, at some point,
I know where to go.
You know where to go. You know where to go.
Yeah.
One of the last bases though that I want to cover before we wrap up this podcast though is your involvement now too with the Madison Film Festival, which is something that Grace Smoley and I created, and we recruited a board of people from throughout the country, professionals in the industry, securing a theater, getting on the Film Freeway, which is the largest film festival submission platform in the world. You being part of this, when we asked you, like, movie guy Miles, would you like to be part of this? What was going through your head when that happened?
I thought it was a really cool opportunity because until this year, I'd never set foot in a film festival. I mean, I guess the Wisconsin Film Festival here, which is a really cool opportunity too, but like, before going to Sundance early this year, like I'd really only known what I'd seen in like in the news and like in all the interviews and stuff. And I'm so grateful for Wood Film for sending a group of us out there because that was like an experience. That was
so
a once
cool.
in a lifetime experience.
So cool.
Now that I've been to a film festival, like a real like film festival, I'm so excited to see what we can do to like create that experience. I know you asked me to come on board even before the Sundance experience, but like, yeah, like and it was cool then. I was like, wow, a film festival. I hope we know what we're doing. But then you were so on top of it with like the planning and getting sponsorships and trying to secure theaters and stuff like that. And then after seeing that in play in Utah, like that was just I was like, okay, we can do this. This seems it's difficult, but it seems pretty comprehensible. And so I just feel like it's a really cool opportunity.
Yeah, and we're gonna have so much fun, and that's been the whole purpose behind. I feel like our mission here as Badger Film Group, as Madison Film Festival, is to just give this community an arts culture. Because prior to us, there really wasn't anything.
Mm-hmm.
There wasn't anything. What we've done in the last 2 years is more than what people have tried to do here over the last 100.
Yeah, Madison. There are so many. Maybe not exactly so many. There are a good amount of opportunities for people who love film to get more involved with it. Like there are some filmmaking opportunities. There are actually a lot of cool viewing opportunities with like Cinematheque and Wood Film and other off-campus organizations. But like Madison is kind of an untapped source of like I feel like Madison can become like a film town. And I feel like it is, but it isn't. I feel like somehow Milwaukee still has the leg up on Madison and like filmmaking and like that type of stuff. Like bigger city, sure, but I think Madison really has that just the heart and for that and stuff like that. I mean, Madison's a pretty decent music town. Like, how about like what other people did for music? You know, we do for movies, and I think we're well along on our way to getting that to happen.
We're making it work one step at a time. We're doing it. So I'm excited to see the future of that holds for us, especially now with the Wasted premiere happening next Thursday.
Yeah,
that's gonna be huge.
Yeah.
So my last thing before we leave the podcast, because Movie Guy Miles, everyone is always asking you, what should I watch? What should I see?
Yeah.
Blah, 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 blah. That's why I was waiting to ask this question till the end. I didn't want people to just hear that and then go.
Yeah.
So
have to keep them here.
Gotta keep them here, entertained, ready to go. So, tell us. Let's say 2 to 3 movies that you think are worth people's while to watch in this next week before they see Wasted. Obviously, I mean that's something they gotta see.
Oh yeah. Does it have to be something in theaters now, or just anything?
Anything. It could be in theaters. It could be on streaming. Maybe they have to purchase it. What should people see in the next week?
All right, I'm gonna do this like those interviews with like the what's your Letterboxd top 4?
Yeah.
I'll give you my Letterboxd top 4.
Okay.
All right. So my number 4 right now, I believe, is Pitch Perfect. If you haven't seen Pitch Perfect,
great movie. Great movie.
It's a masterpiece. This is cinema. Martin Scorsese. He said that about Pitch Perfect. Little known fact. Yeah, it's just really fun. My number 3 is Get Out. Great film. We may or may not have taken some elements from that and wasted. I don't know. Maybe that's for people to find out.
Possible.
Yeah, Get Out is honestly, I think, one of our like modern classics. Like that's the movie that like our generation's still gonna be talking about in like 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that and like all the Marvel like
for sure,
stuff like that. My number 2 is the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Just a really fun like campy musical that I think those live shows that people do with like the shadow cast and like yelling stuff at the screen. I'm so upset that I've still never been to one of those, but they seem really fun, and I just like the community aspect that movie's kind of built around it. But my number 1, my biggest recommendation.
Ooh, number 1 right here. Everyone get ready for Movie Guy Miles' number 1 pick.
It's Interstellar. It's always the movie I go to I'll recommend it to anyone because I think I know some people don't like space, some people don't like sci-fi, but I feel like Interstellar has something for everyone, and I really believe that because at its core there's a really cool and like emotional family story there that so many people can resonate with. If you just look past, the cool stuff, I don't get why people don't like it. It's wormholes and time stretches. Like, that's cool. That's fun to me.
It's awesome.
I understand it's not everyone's cup of tea, though. But if you can look past that and look right at the story, it's a really wonderful movie. And I think that can also be a big takeaway for a lot of films, too. If you can get past the weirdness, the everything everywhere, like all that type of stuff. If you can just sit there for a moment and just take it all in, you'll see underneath all the chaos is like a really cohesive story.
Mm-hmm. No, sometimes it takes there are so many stories that are full of depth that people just can't handle in the moment, and sometimes it takes years for people to appreciate it.
Yeah.
But like you said, if people can really just isolate those different, maybe confusing variables or very eccentric variables and just look at the story for what it is, they can genuinely appreciate and love what they're seeing.
Yeah.
So Movie Guy Miles, thank you for coming on the podcast. The Future Check podcast, episode 5 is in the books. Thank you all for tuning in. We will see you next week for more. Thank you very much and have a great rest of your day. Peace.
Thank you for having me.
Sir, let's go, baby. We out.